Hey, several of the guys from the workplace are coming over to drink after work, so make sure you have something ready before then. Prepare enough alcohol for 5 of us, as well as munchies.
Oh, Enoch, you can't just tell me these things when there isn't even anything in the house.
That's why I'm messaging you now and informing you ahead of time. You still have time before we all get at the house. So maybe you should stop complaining and start preparing.
Do you know I'm running a 42-degree temperature right now, honey? I spent the day resting and recuperating. I simply do not have the time or energy to go to the grocery store and prepare the house for a party. Is it unreasonable to request that your coworkers come over to your house on a different day?
So it's all about what works best for you now, isn't it? You must learn to accept responsibility for your inability to plan ahead. It is your responsibility to deal with the fever or whatever you are suffering from. But as a wife, you must serve your husband and any guests he comes home.
It's not like I deliberately had a fever so I could take the day off.
Aside from that, everyone at the office is always complimenting me on what a wonderful wife I have and how delicious your cooking is. That is why I am inviting guests over tonight, so they can see how talented you are as a chef. So, honey, please don't tell me I invited them to our place for nothing.
That's extremely thoughtful of you, Enoch. But I think you regard me more as a personal waitress or maid than as your wife at times. Do you have any idea how difficult it will be to clean the house before you all arrive? After you've finished eating, I'll do the dishes and clean up after you.
I don't believe you understand the point. Isn't what you just mentioned precisely what a decent wife should do? It's really not that big of a deal, so I'm not sure why you're acting as if I'm requesting something monumental.
I'm attempting to warn you that you and your pals will drink, get dirty, and leave everything for me to clean up. And I'm not sure I have it in me to do all of that on a day like today when I'm already sick.
Listen to me. You're the wife. That means it is your responsibility to look after the house. It's the same everywhere you go, in every home, so stop arguing. I'm not interested in hearing your justifications since you're a full-time housewife.
I believe I've stated this to you several times now, Enoch. I work from home, therefore I spend the entire day at home. But I'm sick today, so I took the day off.
And I think that only goes to show what a farce your so-called job is. They wouldn't have allowed you take the day off if you were actually working hard. In case you didn't already know, the actual world isn't that simple. Even if they had a 105-degree temperature, a real adult would go to work.
I don't think anybody with a fever that high could be useful to anyone. Besides, didn't you take a sick day a few weeks back when your fever was only 38 degrees? I believe you have double standards for how you and I should behave.
You're clueless. I'm basically a super genius at my job around the clock. So please excuse me if I feel entitled to a day off now and then. And with your small little fever, you don't even have room to talk to me. If you're feeling a little hot, why not try running around outside for a few minutes till you cool down? Everyone knows that's the quickest way to reduce a fever.
I can hardly believe what I'm hearing right now. Do you honestly believe that? Besides, I'm not going to go running in this state.
Why don't you get off your lazy bum and go to the shop and return instead? Because you have so much time to react to my messages. I know you aren't doing much around the house right now. If you have a fever, using your phone should be far more difficult than doing housework. Your texts don't make you sound sick.
Enoch, I'm lying in bed, messaging you, and that's it. And what do you mean when you say that using a smartphone is more difficult than doing housework? That makes no sense. That's impossible to believe.
What do you mean? And it's completely true. That is how the world operates.
What are you talking about? You've never even offered to assist me with housework. That's why there's always so much for me to do, and why I whine so much about it.
Oh, of course. I'm a male. I shouldn't even be doing housekeeping. Everyone knows that type of work is reserved for women. And as a housewife, your job is to do it all.
I'm sure I've told you 100 times that I'm not a housewife. I'm tired of this conversation. I don't think you're really listening to what I'm saying right now. I guess I'll simply shut up and finish up my tasks.
I'm delighted to see you're starting to make sense again. Anyway, while you're there, get some sliders and those peanuts I love. You've seen them before. Then I want you to make a veggie tray out of freshly sliced vegetables, not pre-made crap. Don't forget to stock up on beer and wine.
That appears to be a significant amount of shopping. Let me handle it.
Hello, Sarah. I'll be over at your house shortly. On his last excursion, William caught far too many fish. I was hoping you wouldn't mind if I shared with you.
Oh, thank you so much, Angela. Unfortunately, I've been sick and don't have much energy. I'm sorry to bother you, but could you perhaps bring them by another day?
Please excuse me. What exactly do you mean by that? That's what you have to say to your mother-in-law when I say I'm going to bring you a gift. Is it just because I'm a bother to you?
What? No, of course you are not a bother. It's only that I'm currently suffering from a high fever. I'm afraid that even if you did come all the way over, I wouldn't be able to properly greet you.
Oh my goodness. Do you have her fever? So I hope you're doing everything you can to keep my little Enoch from getting sick from you. He isn't like you in that he has a genuine job that he must attend every day. If you make him ill, he won't be able to work hard enough to feed both of you.
Right, yes. Okay, thank you. I'll be careful. Although Enoch appeared to be in good health when he left for work today, I believe we will be okay.
You must ensure that he remains healthy. But to think you acquired a cold when all you did all day was putter around the home? It takes a lot of guts to get sick like that, in my opinion.
What? No, it's not at all like that. I believe it occurred because Enoch locked me out the other day. He arrived home drunk and yelled at me to go to the store and get him some goods. While I was gone, he bolted, chained our front door, and fell asleep.
Oh, wow. Are you really attempting to complain about my own son to me? You've got a lot of guts, don't you? Did you ever consider that maybe that is something you should have considered and planned for? Isn't it your fault you got locked out of the house?
That wasn't exactly my point. I simply mentioned it since we don't generally chain the door shut once we lock it. So I never expected to be locked out like that?
So you're just proving my point. It's all your fault. Besides, Enoch shouldn't need to know about whatever his wife requires. Why don't you just get divorced if all you want to do is complain?
I'm sorry, Angela. I believe I have a few issues to consider. Sorry, but I guess I just need to rest for the rest of the day.
Don't worry, I'll still come over and teach you all you need to know about being a wonderful wife.
No, thank you. That's really not necessary. The house is still a mess because I haven't been able to clean up since Enoch and his co-workers came over to drink last night. Right now, the house is a complete disaster. It is absolutely not necessary for you to watch it.
What exactly did you just say to me? It is already late afternoon, and you're telling me you haven't cleaned up the mess from yesterday? Are you just trying to make me angry?
The problem is that I've been sick with a fever since yesterday. But Enoch wanted to spend out with his pals at our house. I was so busy making sure there was always food and drink available that I was really fatigued by the end.
So you had my youngster start his day in a filthy house? I'm not sure where you're going, young lady. What you are doing is heinous. How can you call yourself his wife if you can't even do the simplest of housework? You should be embarrassed.
Have you been paying attention to anything I've said all this time? I just finished telling you that despite having a fever, I not only accomplished the chores, but also hosted a night of drinking.
That is precisely what a good wife should do. Don't congratulate yourself for doing the bare minimum. Now get out of bed and begin cleaning the house. And I promise that if the entire place isn't perfectly clean by the time I arrive, I really will make Enoch divorce you.
That is why I am requesting that you not come over today. I simply do not have the energy to do anything today.
Hey, how long do you intend to stay at home and do nothing? My mother informed me of all you've been up to. What about how you were passed out on the floor when she arrived at our house? And that you even forced her play along with your little act to the point of calling an ambulance for you.
Your mother informed me that she was coming over and that I needed to tidy the house before she arrived. And as soon as I stood up, I became dizzy and went out. I attempted to persuade your mother not to come over yesterday, but she had already decided. She forced her way inside using a spare key she'd already prepared. But I guess it was because of it that she found me on the floor and called for aid.
She also mentioned how the place was still a shambles because you didn't clean up after my party. How could you have let her into our home and see that? Even though I warned you that the house had best be spotless by the time I returned. It's a good thing my mother caught you and realized how lazy you are when no one is home.
Really? After everything I did to make sure you and your coworkers had everything you needed the other night? Do you realize how much you sound like your mother right now? My fever had already reached 42 by the time I arrived at the hospital.
And that suits you well. I had to go to work without breakfast this morning because of your sloth. You're lucky because I'll be out drinking with the guys again tonight, so I'll be ready for dinner. Even so, I'm still stunned by the state you're leaving our home in. It's revolting.
Look at me, Enoch. You created the shambles. Therefore, you must clean it up.
Please excuse me. What did you just say? Is this any way to communicate with someone who has been so good to you while you've been sick? It's only a 42-degree fever, and you're using it as an excuse to avoid doing any housework? I don't care if you've already checked in. If you haven't turned around, returned home, and cleaned that place by the time I get home, we're done.
Okay, we're done. Let's get a divorce.
Wait, what?
No, you're correct. It's better this way. Being with you has only ever given me stress, and more stress. I'm tired of you always treating me like a slave. Let's just get things over with.
Wait, please wait a moment. Are you serious?
Of course I am. I'm just doing what you suggested. As soon as I get out of the hospital, I'll begin completing the paperwork so that we can make it official. Goodbye, Enoch.
Hey, you know I'll take you back at any time. So stop being so stubborn and come home already.
Please excuse me. Do you want me to come back? Are you certain you don't simply miss having a slave to bully around? What a farce. But I'm quite content enjoying a beautiful life without you.
What? You mean you're fine with not seeing me?
Well, of course. In fact, now that I'm not with you, I'm feeling better than I have in years. Divorcing you was one of the smartest moves I've ever made. I can't even remember what made me want to marry you in the first place.
But when you were here, you never seemed to be upset. Have you already found work or something? I assumed you couldn't function without me and my work.
I can't believe I had to explain this to you again. I did my work from home. I've always worked for myself and made my own money. You truly are the worst, you know. I don't think you've ever actually listened to anything I've attempted to tell you.
Wait, so you were serious about working from home, right? So you're totally fine without me?
Oh, it's much more than that. I've been living my best life without you. Without you around to make messes all over the place for me to clean up. Life is a lot easier. This is the best I've felt in years.
Come on. How can you say something like that? Please, Sarah, just come home now. The house is a shambles. And because I'm a man, I don't know how to cook or clean the house. It's just not the same without you. So, could you perhaps come over every now and then to take care of the house?
Are you even listening to yourself? Do you still have any brain cells in there, or did you drink them all away? Give me one reason why I'd want to clean up after someone as bad as you. And besides, do you believe you can't cook because you're a man? We're all humans, man or woman.
But in my entire life, I've never had to cook. And, of course, I've never cleaned a house or done anything similar. So, please just come over and show me the fundamentals.
Do you believe I was taught how to accomplish all of those things? Why don't you just try using your precious few remaining brain cells? You don't know how to cook since you've never had to cook for yourself. So, why not express your appreciation to the individuals in your life who have always cooked for you?
That's exactly what I've been attempting to express. Cooking is a woman's occupation. That's why I've never done it, won't do it, and shouldn't have to.
So you'll simply have to starve till you find someone else, won't you? But seriously, do you think there aren't any men out there who live alone and cook for themselves? You don't think it's a little archaic to believe that it's a woman's responsibility to cook and clean? You're just making up reasons why you can't do anything for yourself.
It's not my fault after all. I never had to do anything like that when I was younger, so I have no idea how to do it today.
Well, I guess you'll have to do it now, so get started. What did you expect to get from all these pitiful crocodile tears? And moreover, didn't you always claim that housework was the easiest?
Obviously, if I put my mind to it, I could do it, but...
But what? What else could you possibly say? Why am I bothering to inquire? I don't care what happens to you or your life. So please stop messaging me.
Please, wait. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have treated you that way. But I truly can't do these duties. Please help. You are the only one I can turn to for assistance right now.
No way. You should not expect me to ever help you again. After all the many ways you've thrown the work I accomplished back in my face, I think that should be quite evident. Maybe spending so much time alone with yourself will eventually make you realize how powerless you are without others to clean up after you. After that, I blocked Enoch on all platforms. And Enoch knew he had lost the one person to whom he had become accustomed to calling for assistance. I never informed him where I went so he couldn't track me down or bother me again in person. I'm sure his apartments get messier by the day. It's probably almost uninhabitable at this point. Not long after leaving Enoch, I met an amazing man. In fact, we're already talking about getting married. He's always helpful around the house, cooking and cleaning. There was nothing more pitiful than a man who couldn't even care for himself.
Hey, Hazel. We need to talk. Text me right back when you got the message.
Zoe? How are you doing? What can I help you, Mom?
Oh, you've replied. Thanks God. But what happened with your work?
I'm actually in the middle of work now. But I'm just taking a quick coffee break. I thought I'd reply back since it seemed a bit urgent. So what is this all about?
Well, that's funny. I was under the assumption that you had finally submitted your resignation letter or something. I thought you would have quit your job.
Well, I do like my job here. So why do you text me?
Well, I do expect you to do as you're told, seeing as you're my daughter-in-law. If I tell you to reply to my text messages, I expect an immediate reply. If I tell you to cook for me, then you'd cook for me right away. Isn't that what respecting your in-laws is all about?
Right. So, is there something you want to tell me?
By the way, let me tell you something I heard on a TV show the other day.
Okay.
So apparently young people these days have a sneaky way of reading text messages without having to actually read the text. Have you ever heard of that?
I'm not so sure.
Meaning that the recipient will be able to read the texts without the sender finding out. I suppose it's so that the sender won't be bothered if they get a late reply. Well, I can't think of any other reason as to why anyone wouldn't reply to a text immediately, but to each their own.
Oh, I know that trick.
Well, I'm glad that you're not the type of person to do that.
Yeah. So.
Oh, sorry for going off track. I just forget things in a split second even during mid-conversation. So I'm actually at your house at the moment.
Really? What are you doing there? Is Peter with you?
Actually, Peter is at work now. So I'll wait till he gets home. I know Peter tells me he's fine on the phone, but you never really know how someone's doing until you've seen and spoken to them in person, right? So I just come over and see how he is doing. I hope that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, you come round to the house at least every month. So it'll be weird if you stopped coming over. Anyway, what can I do for you here? Did you want to ask me something?
Oh, I didn't know that it was a problem for me to see my son.
Oh, no. I didn't mean it like that. I can absolutely understand how worried you'd be when your son is not in your sight. If I were you, I would be worried too.
Peter is my beloved son. I'd fall sick if I don't see him for even just a day. Once you have children, you will understand, Hazel.
Yeah.
By the way, do you plan to have a baby?
Oh, what's that?
Oh, I went off track again. Sorry.
I think you texted me to either ask me something or...
That's right.
I'm all ears.
What time are you coming home tonight?
Let me check my planner. Hold on a second. Okay, I should be home at around 6:30 p.m. tonight. Would you like to stay at ours for dinner?
Oh, no need to worry about that. I'll cook for all of us tonight.
Oh, thank you so much. My husband loves your dishes you cook.
Yeah. But I need you to buy something before you come home. Is that okay?
Sure. What do you need?
First, 5 kilograms of cheese.
What? 5 kilograms?
Yes, why not?
Do you really need much cheese to cook for dinner?
Yeah, just buy what I say. Second, 5 kilograms of pasta.
I think these are too much for 3 of us.
What? Don't be silly. I have my way of cooking.
So, you really need all of that?
What's wrong with you? If I didn't, why I have to ask you to buy?
But what do you need it for? Because it doesn't sound like you need all of that for just a meal for 3 people.
Well, you're right about that. I'd be crazy to have all of that for just a family meal.
Then what are they for?
It's to give to my neighbors as Christmas gifts.
Christmas gifts?
Yes. I have no idea what some of them need or want. And I don't intend to overthink it since they're just for my neighbors. Anyone could use more cheese and pasta, right? So it's a perfect idea for a gift. Do you think so?
Yeah, I see.
I did that last Christmas and everyone seemed to love it. Don't worry, dear. Just get them for me and that'll be all right.
Okay. But by the way, is there a specific brand or type of cheese you want me to get?
Feel free to choose whichever one you like. I don't mind that. Oh, I almost forgot. Could you also get 10 cans of chopped tomatoes? Choose whichever one is the cheapest.
Okay, pasta and cheapest can of chopped tomatoes.
And get around 20 empty cardboard boxes.
20 boxes?
Yeah. Thanks, darling. You're a sweetheart.
Zoe? What is all this?
What?
What's all this in front of the house? These pile of boxes and bags with things inside?
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, could you come and open the door, please? My hands are full and you've got to see this for yourself.
Oh, I can't, darling. I'm a bit tied up here.
Okay, well now I've looked inside and a lot of these things are mine. In fact, they're all mine. Who did this?
I honestly have no idea. I just remember throwing out some trash. Were they yours? Oh, I'm sorry, Hazel. Peter and I thought they were all trash, so we just put them all out.
Trash? What the heck are you doing?
Excuse me? What is it with all of the profanity all a sudden?
No, it's not all of a sudden. I've been nice to you all these years. But this is the last straw. No more playing nice to you. I've had enough with your harassment.
Well, if you are going to be that way, let me tell you something. I'll let you know how much I've hated your guts. I never liked you since Pete introduced me to you. So it's about time you got what you deserved. I knew Peter should have never married a foolish woman like you.
Me? Am I the one who threw all of someone's things out on the streets? No. That's you.
See? That filthy mouth of yours. I hope it hasn't rubbed off onto Peter as well. You're a terrible influence on him.
I'm the terrible influence? How about you for being the big old cockalorum?
What? Please don't be so dramatic. All I'm saying is that ever since Pete married you, he hardly comes to visit me at my house. And then over the past year, we've started spending some more time together for some reason. And I realized that all this time you were the one holding him back from seeing me.
A year ago? Right, well that makes sense.
How does that make sense? What do you mean?
Oh, never mind.
This is you. You're pulling the strings behind my back. Torturing me. Keeping my son away from me. Those boxes are there so that you can move out of this house and leave me and my family alone.
What? Are you being serious?
When are you ever going to get it into your head that a wife is to stay at home and be a good housewife? But look at you. Always talking about work and work. As if you don't have a family to take care of. Poor Peter. He looks after him while you're at work.
What? He's a 38-year-old man. He's perfectly capable of taking care of himself on his own. Besides, what kind of conservative values do you have? Maybe in your days, you had to be a boring stay-at-home wife. But if you step outside into the real world, things are way different. You're way behind. Most married couples have jobs. It's called having a double income. Ever heard of it?
Well, that doesn't explain why you have to be so ugly.
Excuse me?
That's right. Had you been slightly prettier or even nice to look at? I wouldn't have to say this out loud, but look at you. There's nothing in you that makes people want to get to know you. There's nothing in you that would make people compliment you. I can't believe that my handsome son is married to an ugly cow like you.
How superficial and materialistic can you be? And you think you're one to talk? Who do you think you are?
Well, you clearly don't even have any talents either. The meals you cook are always mediocre at best. The housework is never done perfectly. What kind of man would want to be with someone like you? So take those boxes with you and leave us alone. And the cheese and pasta and everything else that you brought back. I will tell Peter to get divorced with you.
What? Divorce?
Yes. You can never step inside our house. But if you are about to beg me, I'll tell you that. Peter will hold off on the divorce if you change your attitude and become a better wife to him.
What? Peter? That idiot of a husband who earns chump change?
How dare you speak about my son like that? Let alone your husband. You're crazy.
It's funny, though, Zoe. Your Peter's always been a mama's boy. I thought he'd grow some balls once we got married. But clearly he hasn't. I can't imagine living with him for the rest of my life. So I'll happily divorce him. Let me get rid of him along with the house. That's what I call killing two birds with one stone.
Hold on a second. Selling the house? Why would you do that? Are you insane?
This house is mine. My grandparents refurbished it. What made you think it belonged to Peter with his income? No way he can afford to live here.
What? That can't be true. He told me it was his house.
You can ask him again. Maybe this man forget the most important part. Your son earns less than his wife and he's a liar. Are you proud of him?
How dare you?
By the way, you may move out of the house now. You better move out of my house. This house is already up for sale. So it won't be too long till the new owner takes over. It'll take just about a month till the new owner gets the key to the house.
A month? How do you expect us to find a place and move out in a month? Since when did you put the house up for sale?
Since I found out that you and Peter were trying to sabotage me. You're not as loved by your family as much as you think you are, Zoe.
What do you mean?
Let's just say that I had a helping hand.
Who is that?
To know this, you'd better ask your husband.
My husband? Why is he involved in these things?
Father-in-law is a very kind person. It's him who told me about your plan to force me away my house.
What? What a jerk!
Don't say that. I will bring father-in-law to live with me. You always look down on him, he never needs a wife like you. So, now. Move away my house. Pack your things and leave my house, you cow.
Is that why you were acting so weird earlier? All of those weird, strange reactions you were giving, it's because you knew what was coming? And you were hiding it from me?
Oh, that was fun trying to wind you up. And you know what? I even bought anything at supermarket. No can, no box, and no cheese.
You.
Don't make me say it again. Pack up and leave.
What? Why all these things happen all of a sudden? I can't get it.
You spoil Peter to be a mama boy. And these all things are the outcome you got. You guys are meant to stay together longer. Good luck.
Hazel. I'm not done with you yet. I never forgive you.
My life now is free. But I regret to spend precious time in my life for such toxic people. After that, I blocked Zoe's number just to avoid having any contact with her. My father-in-law apparently got the gossip about them from the old neighbors. According to that, my ex-husband Peter's been fired from his job. And it looks like he's struggling to find a new one. To make ends meet, Zoe had to take a part-time work at the serving customers. She worked all day and night. Well, how pathetic. Despite having lost my marriage, at least I have my kind father-in-law. I'm so...
Galvin. I'll be out today, okay? I'll see you later tonight.
What are you doing going out now?
Yup. Just for a little while.
Where are you going in such a hurry?
Oh, now we're special. A friend of mine invited me to a restaurant with an all-you-can-eat dessert buffet. There's even a discount if you travel in a party of 2 or more.
You're going out to eat again?
Like I said, it's not a huge issue. I just like to eat.
That friend you're referring to.
She's the girl I'm always telling you about, stupid. The one with a self-proclaimed iron stomach.
Okay then. I'll believe you on that. Aside from that, do you remember what day it is?
Of course I know, foolish. It's Christmas Eve.
That's not precisely what I meant, but it is.
I can't believe I forgot about the seasonal promotion at the buffet I'm heading to. Today is the last day of the buffet, so I really need to go or I'll miss out.
But you're aware that something else is going on today, aren't you? Apart from Christmas Eve and other holiday deals.
Aside from Christmas Eve, you mean? It's not exactly jingling bells for me.
You have no idea what I'm talking about?
Oh. Of course, I understand what you mean.
Are you certain?
Yeah. I'm with you, so don't say anything else. I assure you won't have to worry. I'll be home in time for dinner.
Speaking of which, if you're going out this afternoon, how is Alice? She said she'd complete her Christmas break schoolwork with a friend at their house today, correct?
That's right. I texted her to meet me at your mother's place once she finished her studies for the day. She sent me a thumbs up emoji, so I guess the message got through. And, of course, I told your mother to expect Alice this afternoon.
Did you do it? Thank you for the update.
We're having a full dinner today, complete with chicken and cake, right? I'm very excited. I'm going to eat till my trousers buttons come off.
The fact that you're saying it while on your way to a buffet confirms my suspicion that you're the one with an iron stomach. You know, traditionally, before a big, celebratory dinner, people fast so they can really taste the particular meal.
Yes, but remember that I'm the type of person that doesn't gain weight no matter how much they eat. So everything is well.
That's something I can't argue with. Just do me a favor and limit your food intake tonight. Please don't overdo it. I'm counting on you.
Whatever you say.
You're laughing, but I'm dead serious about what I just stated. Okay, I must return to work. We'll talk afterwards.
Okay, best of luck over there. I'm going out, so I'll see you later tonight.
I'm truly sorry.
It appears that I will not be returning home until much later than I had hoped.
Is there something going on? Is everything all right?
We're having some problems here at the workplace, and it appears that I'm the only one who can have it all fixed and taken care of by tonight.
Oh no. That sounds like a nightmare.
The good news is that I figured out what was causing the problem and how to solve it. Now I just have to do the troubleshooting. To be honest, this thing is shaping up to be a real thorn in my side. I guess I'll be working extra hours tonight.
That appears to be the only thing you can do right now, doesn't it? So, what should we do about our dinner plans in that case? It's too late to cancel the cake and chicken and everything else, so it's probably already on its way here.
If you wait for me, you'll undoubtedly be starving by the time I get home, so I suggest the two of you eat without me.
That's terrific.
Okay, the sooner I finish this, the sooner I'll be home and eating, so I should get back to work.
Yeah. Good luck. We'll be waiting.
Is today a good moment to speak, Galvin?
So, what's up, Mom?
You're not working at this hour, are you?
I just got out of the office and am now warming up the car.
Oh, my. Don't tell me you had to work overtime today?
I'm sorry to say it, but that's exactly what happened. I had planned to leave at my usual time, but we ran into some unanticipated problems at work, and none of my coworkers were acquainted enough with the project to manage it, so it very much rested on my shoulders.
That is regrettable.
On the positive side, I finished correcting everything an hour earlier than I had anticipated.
That explains why you didn't show up to pick up Alice this afternoon, as I expected you to.
Huh? But didn't Irene come over to take her up from your house?
I waited and waited for Irene, but she never showed up. I tried calling her several times, but she never answered, and she hasn't returned my messages.
I don't think so.
Alice informed me she could walk home alone herself, but she's still in primary school. I didn't want to leave her alone in an empty house.
No, seriously. What became of Irene? She said she was heading to a restaurant with a dessert buffet today, but I'm sure she'd be done by now.
Galvin, pay attention to what I'm saying. Do you believe this has anything to do with Irene's feelings for Alice?
What exactly do you mean?
I'm not sure how to say it, or if it's even appropriate, but I'm Alice's grandmother, and you're her uncle. Our shared blood binds the three of us together, and blood, as they say, is thicker than water. Irene, on the other hand, is a little different.
Oh, okay, I guess you're correct.
On top of that, I believe Alice is still recuperating from what her parents did to her. She's young, and I don't think she's had time to recover from the affair or Sarah and Louis's divorce. Despite the fact that you and Irene opted to adopt her and treat her as if she were a daughter rather than a niece. Isn't this your first holiday season with her, and her first Christmas since what happened with her parents?
That's right. I thought she was doing a good job overall, but I've been preoccupied with work recently.
I understand that the circumstance was terrible, but for any child to be taken away from not just one, but both of its parents is heartbreaking. There is nothing more painful than this. As a result, I want you and Irene to be able to fill the emptiness in Alice's heart with wonderful memories, making this feel like a true second shot at a happy family.
Of course, that is exactly what I desire. I think we're an odd family, and we're definitely going through some growing pains, but I'm going to give it my all. That kid is deserving of nothing but the best.
I see.
Let me try talking to Irene again. I'm confident I'll be able to reach her.
Please notify me if anything unusual occurs. I'll always be available to give you my opinion on the subject, okay?
Thank you so much, Mom. By the way, I'm sorry to bother you, but could you please care after Alice for a few more hours tonight?
Sure, but why not come pick her up right now?
I'd want to go ahead to our house and see if Irene is still around.
That's what I mean. You're correct to seek her out, and I hope you do so soon.
In addition, I still need to get a Christmas dessert. I wouldn't want to show up to Alice empty-handed.
Yes, it is correct. So, since the bakery nearby is still open for a while, Alice and I could go pick up a cake and spare you some work.
Mom, you made an excellent decision. Make sure she gets the flavor she desires. She deserves it. Okay, I have to leave now. I'll message you again in a moment.
We'll be there waiting for you.
Hey, Irene! Pick up that phone!
Oh, Galvin, you were the one who called. I mistakenly thought it was someone else.
Seriously, where are you at the moment? My mother has been watching after Alice all evening, and according to her, you failed to take her up. What's the deal? And, to make matters worse, why did you have to devour the entire dinner before any of us arrived home? I'm not sure what I'm seeing here. I'm at a loss for words.
Huh? Wait, you're already home?
Wasn't I meant to be home already?
It's simply that you said you'd be home late tonight.
Yes, I finished earlier than expected. Now tell me, where did all our food go?
Oh, well. I didn't want all that food to go to waste, so I said what the heck, I'll just dig in, better than having it go cold and uneaten, right? If you weren't coming home, I figured I'd bring my friend from the buffet home and we'd have our own small Christmas party.
And now you've gone out after all that eating? What are you doing now?
Oh, my friend and I were discussing getting drinks, so we're just hanging out at a bar. But is something wrong?
That's why I believed you were in trouble, but you were too darn busy drinking to go pick up Alice. You've got to be kidding me.
But, Alice, she's always really shy around new people, and she's never met this buddy of mine before, so she'd have a bad time going out with me and some girl she doesn't know, right?
That is not what I am referring about, and you are well aware of this. You left Alice, whom we plan to adopt as our own, alone with my mother to go the party on your own, despite the fact that it was meant to be all about her tonight.
Is it really all about her? What exactly are you on about?
Oh, Irene, did you really forget?
What did I forget? I really don't know.
Do you recall how I asked you what day it was earlier today?
Yes, as I already stated, it is Christmas Eve. What do you think?
Today is a special day. Something more substantial than Christmas Eve.
What do you mean?
You claimed that you and I were on the same page and that I didn't need to bring it up, but it was plainly just you attempting to get me off your case. Because if you truly understood what I was saying, you would never have considered pulling a stunt like the one you did tonight.
Oh, really? Is this really so significant? I mean, I'm sure I remembered it from earlier in the conversation, but what was it again?
Today is Alice's birthday, you moron. I can't believe you overlooked such a vital detail.
Huh?
Don't you remember? Everything we had planned for today's party was supposed to help her get over what occurred between her parents and make some new, better memories. But you had to go be a glutton and devour the cake, the chicken, and everything else, you selfish, selfish lady.
Oh, hold on. Just a second, please. I assumed we received all of that food because it was food I enjoy eating.
Obviously, that's a factor. But I was thinking that we could all enjoy it as a family and make today seem special for Alice.
But I was just...
And that's not all. You mentioned you brought a girlfriend to our house for a party, but are you certain it wasn't a man friend? Maybe even a boyfriend, if I may be so bold.
Huh? Are you mad? How could you suddenly say anything like that?
Isn't it the competitive eater guy you've been hanging out with lately? You were observed holding hands as you came up to the home on your way back from your little date. While I was strolling down the street, I spoke with several of the more chatty neighbors. They didn't mind informing me what was going on.
No way.
Oh, and the neighbors said they heard you guys creating a bit of a commotion.
No way. You couldn't be serious, are you?
On my way home, I had a horrible feeling, so I asked Mom to watch Alice for a little longer while I checked things out. Thank God I trusted my instincts enough not to bring Alice home and show her what you'd done. That girl had been looking forward to tonight for weeks, with all the excellent food and the cake. I'm not sure what I could say to make her feel better about her favorite birthday supper being completely destroyed.
The funny thing is, you know.
We're getting divorced.
Huh?
Don't worry, I'll send your family a message about it as well.
I know you're mad with me, but could you please slow down for a second? You are the one who stated that Alice needed a mother in her life, correct? Wasn't that you?
Yes, But a mother who sneaks around behind her family's back and brings other men home on Christmas Eve isn't exactly what I had in mind for a wonderful mother.
But
I'll pack your belongings and have a chip ready for anywhere you need it. Just tell me the address. You don't need to come back here, and frankly, I don't want you to.
No, just stop and listen to me.
I'm hiring a lawyer. They'll no doubt be pleased to walk you through the divorce paperwork and process.
I told you to stop and listen to me. You hear me? You're the one who's wrong here.
Please excuse me.
You only think about what Alice wants and needs. You no longer think about me. You're a terrible husband.
You say that, but weren't you seeing your iron stomach guy before Alice entered this family?
How did you do?
I remember it like it was yesterday. I watched him being interviewed online at least a year ago, and something he said stood out to me. He claimed that his girlfriend, Irene, enjoyed eating as much as he did and that he fell in love with her through food.
He mentioned my name during an interview?
I assumed it was a coincidence that we both had girlfriends with the same name at the time, but now I'm guessing that food-loving girlfriend was you, wasn't it?
Wait, let me clarify.
No need. See you later.
The following month, we divorced. I spoke with my lawyer, and we ended up asking for $22,000 for the settlement. My now ex-wife, Irene, was rejected by her parents and had to find a new job to pay alimony. Aside from that, the competitive eater she was seeing informed me that when they first met, she told him she was unmarried and never mentioned me. He profusely apologized to me and appeared forthright, so I assumed he was just as much of a victim as I was. Regarding Alice's birthday, my mother rapidly spread the news that we were throwing an unexpected party, and a large number of our relatives turned up at her house. Everyone brought dishes from home, and with the cake Mom and Alice chose that night, it turned out to be a vibrant, delightful event. Alice had a great smile on her face the entire night, and I drew a sigh of relief knowing that my family and I had rescued the day in some way.
Did you go out or something, Bella? When I arrived home, it was pitch black. I have no idea what's going on. Hello, Bella, how are you?
What do you want?
Sorry, I was just wondering whether you were out or if you had gone somewhere. It's becoming late. You're not home yet, and you haven't told me anything or left a letter or anything of the sort. I think I was simply becoming a little nervous, but who can blame me?
So you're finally back at home?
Yes, I had some things at work that I needed to get in order before I could go, but I'm finally back.
Is that correct?
Yes, so when do you suppose you'll get home tonight?
I'm not going to that house again, Samson.
What's that? I don't get it.
The truth is that I have reconciled with my ex.
What exactly did you do? Do you mean the same ex who you said was continually taking out loans he couldn't pay back and attempting to entice you to help him?
Yes, he used to be like that, but that's all in the past. He has paid off all of his debts, and is now a contributing member of society. He's definitely changed.
I'm not sure I'd feel the same way about a guy who is desperate to rekindle his relationship with one of his ex-wives.
You don't even know him, therefore I don't see how you can justify disparaging him.
If you're truly abandoning me to rekindle your relationship with him, I believe I have the right to slander him a little.
Oh, mature. He worked very hard to get his life in order, so that he could have me back. Isn't that touching? I was moved and I believed he had truly changed. That is why I have decided to leave you. He's the one. I'll just be going over to get my belongings, and that will be the last time you see me. It doesn't matter if I forget something.
Hold on. This discussion is far from over.
Anyway, I'm out of time, so bye.
Bella, hold on. Please, come back. We're not done yet.
I'm sorry, is this Mr. Sampson's phone number?
It certainly is. May I inquire as to who I am speaking with?
Yes, I apologize for messaging you like this out of the blue with no introduction. My name is Edward, and I work for the law company Limp.
Okay, fine. So you're Edward, right? And you're a lawyer, right?
Yes, it is correct. Your wife hired me. She provided me your phone number so that I could contact you. I hope that's okay.
So you were recruited as my wife's personal lawyer?
Yes, sir. Okay, I'm afraid I've already taken up too much of your time, so if there are no more questions, I'd want to explain why I'm contacting you. Your wife looks to want to divorce you.
Oh, so she's dead serious about reuniting with her bad ex, huh?
So you're familiar with your wife's situation, I see. I think this could save us both some time because there is less to explain in this scenario. As part of the divorce proceedings, your wife is demanding $30,000 in alimony.
Excuse me. She's attempting to extort $30,000 from me, despite the fact that she was the one who was conducting the affair?
I see you don't know much about the law, sir. Please allow me to explain a bit more so that you understand what is going on here. In this scenario, the law does not distinguish between one party being unfaithful and another being faithful. However, the law states that if a woman divorces her husband, the husband must pay the lady $30,000 in settlements.
Is that what the law really says about divorce?
Of course, sir. After all, I am a lawyer, which is a highly important job. I'm too busy to make jokes about my job.
You're absolutely correct. I've never met a lawyer who didn't take their profession seriously.
In that situation, may I presume you want to settle the outstanding account by paying what you owe?
Before I do anything else, I simply want to make sure. Is that you, Edward of Lem?
Sir, you are correct. That's right. And since lawyers don't lie, you know it's true.
I see. So, I'd like to request 2 days before I respond officially.
You require 2 days?
Yes, I have a few things to think about, and all I need is some time. After all, $30,000 is a significant money.
So, I think you have a point there. So long as you don't intend to flee.
Of course not, since if I did anything like that, I would most likely lose my job and be in even more trouble. I promise not to flee.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Aside from that, as a lawyer, I believe it would be dangerous for you to run when you have so much evidence against you. Given that escaping would be nearly difficult, I see no reason why I shouldn't trust you right now.
Thank you very much. Okay then, I'll respond in 2 days.
Sir, I eagerly await your response.
Samson, hello. You are present. I'd want to speak for a moment.
Oh my goodness, Bella! Where have you gone? Where did you flee?
I thought I told you I was still seeing my ex. We are now living together.
Yes, I'm aware of it. But all I wanted to know was where he lived.
Why would I ever tell you that? I would be crushed if something happened to my man. Therefore, I'm not going to tell you anything. Anyway, I've already filed my divorce papers. They are expected to arrive tomorrow, so please submit your documentation as well. Of course, I'm also demanding alimony. I'm thinking about asking for $1 million, and that's on the low end. Of course, you make enough money that you wouldn't notice if you paid the entire amount at once.
So you want $100,000 immediately instead? Do you honestly believe I have that much money to throw around?
Now, instead, what are you discussing right now?
Oh, I'm sorry. I think I'm just talking to myself here. Well, see, I have no objections to finalizing our divorce. I'll start working on the paperwork tonight. But what about alimony? I'm just doing some poking around and certain things don't seem to add up. I don't believe I have any obligation to pay you.
Is that true? And what makes you think that? The $100,000 wasn't a joke. It was a figure I came up with after carefully calculating how much I would need to maintain my existing standard of living. As your wife, I have the right to demand payment as well, so pay up.
This is unusual.
What? Are you referring to the amount I've asked for? You believe it's excessive? Is that how you made your money? By always being so cheap? So you'd better cope with it because I'm not going to ask for anything else.
No. It's not that you're asking too much.
So, what exactly is it?
So I was conducting some web research and came across something that you might find interesting. But I assume you'll find out tomorrow. Anyway, bye! Mr. Edward, could you please excuse me? We talked a couple of days ago about how my wife hired you for our divorce. Anyway, it's been 2 days, so I'm reaching out as agreed. Do you have any time to chat about what we were discussing?
Oh, Mr. Sampson, it's wonderful to hear from you. So, tell me, have you made your decision? Will you agree to pay the full amount of $30,000 to divorce your wife?
No, I'm afraid I won't be able to pay any of it.
Please excuse me.
In fact, I believe I will be the one suing for damages, so you can anticipate me to send you an invoice for the same amount.
I'm not sure I understand. Mr. Sampson, what do you suppose you're doing here?
I'm doing exactly what you're doing. $30,000 is the asking price.
I'm not sure what you're saying right now, sir. Do you know where you stand in the eyes of the law right now? Sir, I'll give you a hint, and it's not good. Please put an end to all of this nonsense about not paying. I realize it's a lot, but we have to act like grown-ups about it.
Oh, really? And I have to pay because, according to you, this is what a woman receives for divorcing her husband?
I know you may not like it, but I am simply relaying what the law states.
I know that many people believe that is how divorce works, but they would be greatly misled if they did any genuine investigation.
Sir, this is a statutory fee. There is no error here. I'm a lawyer, and attorneys don't make mistakes.
And I'm here to tell you that you're inventing this law, which does not exist. According to the letter of the law, whichever party is found to be unfaithful must financially recompense the other. That is, if the cheater is caught, he or she must compensate the victim. No aspect of the law is governed only by a person's gender.
And what does an armchair attorney like you know about how the law actually works?
I've already assembled it. I'm aware that you're the man with whom my wife is having an affair. You're her ex.
I'm not sure what you're on about.
I know you've been seeing each other on and off for about 3 years. I had hired a private investigator to investigate my wife's affair and determine who the man she was sleeping with was.
You hired a detective agency to spy on your wife?
Not only her, you as well. This detective even followed you into a pub and sat close enough to overhear what you were saying, including you bragging about your brilliant scheme to mimic a lawyer and cheat me out of money. But do you want to know what tipped you off? You must have been so proud of yourself when you thought of that minor detail. However, you should have exercised greater caution. Because it's the one certain way I know you're not a lawyer.
What do you mean? Naturally, I'm a lawyer. This is insane.
So, do you still insist on being Edward from Elmp?
Of course I am. How could I not be?
So, with which bar association do you belong?
What is a bar association? What does the location of my drinking have to do with anything? What about your license number? For what? My car? Oh, right. That is the license. Well, I believe we have the right to privacy in this nation, and I refuse to answer those queries on that basis.
You are aware that it is simple to locate information on lawyers on the American Bar Association's website, right?
Wait, is this true?
And one more thing, which should have tipped you off. Edward is a buddy of mine.
He is not. No, I don't think so.
But I don't believe I ever had the opportunity to adequately introduce myself. My name is Samson, and I work for the Lump Legal Business.
What do you mean?
Well, I remember Edward, who was a lawyer at this business. Edward is a female.
A woman?
Perhaps this is just a coincidence. Perhaps you had no idea a genuine lawyer named Edward existed. But even if you did, you didn't bother checking to see if they were a guy or a woman.
Please wait. I believe there is an error.
So let us reacquaint ourselves. So what do you think, Chad? By the way, I previously went through the bother of putting your name through a couple of databases and none of them generated a lawyer with your name. Of course, you must be aware with our state's penal code's Title 53, Section 130, the one that explains the legal ramifications of impersonating a lawyer without being one yourself. In case you forgot, persons found guilty of this offense risk up to 2 years in prison and a $30,000 fine.
You must be kidding. Is that against the law?
Of course. No one has been seriously injured as a result of your imitation. I'd say you'll be fine if you just pay me the money I asked for earlier. I've already spoken with the genuine Edward, who has promised not to pursue any legal action against you as long as you agree. And as long as you never forget that what you attempted to accomplish is illegal.
I see. I deeply regret this.
Hey, Samson. What did you do to Chad? And what is the matter with him?
Sorry, but I don't understand what you're saying.
He promised to pay you the money you wanted from him. He said I wasn't going to receive what I wanted from you. What happened to him? What sort of lies did you tell him? All I needed was $100,000, and the whole thing might have been over. Why did you feel the need to destroy everything?
Oh, I think I get what's going on here. Did you ever tell Chad what I do for a living?
What do you mean? What does that have to do with anything?
However, when I discovered that one of you was asking for $30,000 and the other for $100,000, I recognized you couldn't have been working together. You were both attempting to extract money from me without informing the other.
I honestly don't understand what you're talking about.
I'm referring to your accomplice, the one with whom you cheated on me. Did you know he came to me dressed as a lawyer and demanded $30,000 in alimony on your behalf, despite the fact that I am a lawyer?
What is he?
And based on some research I've done, Chad appears to be still in a lot of debt. He must have regarded this as an opportunity to acquire some money to help pay it off.
What exactly do you mean by he's in debt? He informed me he has a job that pays him $200,000 per year.
I'm afraid that was most likely a lie to persuade you to return to him. Chad is a hopeless gambling addict with a massive debt.
That isn't possible.
Now what about you? You are aware that women are not automatically compensated during the divorce procedure, aren't you? In fact, if there is evidence of them cheating or engaging in other forms of adultery, the amount is lowered or even cancelled entirely.
No, that is not possible. So you're saying I won't get paid?
Of course not. Did I really marry such a moron? I feel sorry for myself more than anyone else right now.
Samson, I'm sorry. I'd like to tell you something.
What do you want?
I've decided not to divorce after all.
Are you serious?
Yes, of course. It was a ridiculous idea. I'll leave Chad as soon as possible and return home.
Good luck with that, because I've already relocated.
You relocated?
Yeah, now that I'm single, I don't need as much space as we did.
I can't believe you're telling the truth. Where should I go now?
That is not my concern. You could consider living with your parents again.
Why would I do something like that?
I'm not sure. I'm simply throwing out some possibilities. They're not really pleased with you right now, so I'm not sure if they'll assist.
What exactly are you on about?
So I called them to inform them of the divorce and that you're cheating. So they might not be able to assist you right now.
What exactly is it? What did you do? Why did you drag my parents into this?
They called since they hadn't heard from you in a while, so I told them what was going on. Anyways, see ya! Following that, I heard Bella was hiding out at Chad's place, avoiding her family's angry phone calls. As for Chad, he had given up the fight already, and was eager to have Bella taken off his hands. He ended up breaking up with her because she had just added to his debt. She left, but not before both of them were issued with papers. Bella soon agreed to the divorce terms I provided, and Chad paid my colleague's impersonation costs. Chad looked to have turned his life around and become a useful member of society after that. Hopefully, he will discover his own path and lead a happy life. But what about my ex-wife? Her demeanor worsened. I believe her current intention is to marry a wealthy, unmarried, middle-aged man instead. I already feel sorry for that poor man.